All right, here's another question that comes up. Why do the third base coach and the first base coach and all the coaches wear actual uniforms? Are they going to play?
That's a great question.
Are they going to play, man? I just want to know. They get tapped
maybe throw some tracksuits on them or something.
I've just always wondered that. Like, why are they dressed up in uniforms?
That's a great question. I never actually asked the answer, but that's just the way it's been. And maybe since they're on the field, I don't know what else they would look right in. I don't know. Like coaching shorts and a collar or something. I don't know.
They look like a player. I guess it's from tradition, obviously.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time! Presenting the champion of the world, WamBam Benamino!
Yo, it's your boy. It's Phil WamBam Benamino, and it's another WamBam Wednesday. And it's the show about ordinary people who've done extraordinary things. And as always, the show is free. So we ask you, please, subscribe down below. Make sure you subscribe, hit the little alert button, tell all your friends about it. Make sure you leave some comments. We love comments. We love to see, what you think of the show. We love to answer questions. And you know what? If there's some controversial stuff, we deal with it too. But remember, without people like you, we can't give you this great content. Today's guest, I have a superhero. The reason why I call him a superhero is when you see him and you understand exactly what he's done. He is a second baseman. That's right. Major League Baseball. He was the second baseman ever to hit over 30 home runs 5 years in a row. That's right. We are lucky and fortunate today to have Danny Uggla here today with us. Danny, how you doing, baby?
I'm good, Phil. I'm good. Glad to be here with you, man.
Man, awesome to have you. So excited about chopping it up with you. Thank you for making the time. I know you're a super busy guy, especially now. Now is baseball season. And I know even though you're retired and stuff, I'm sure you're still very active, within the industry. Are you not?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Like to get over there and watch some games and get the kids to do their thing. And they always enjoy going over and watching.
Yeah. So you know what? Telling the viewers real quick, your college days, growing up, you're born and raised in Tennessee, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Grew up in Tennessee, grew up in Columbia, Tennessee, born in Louisville, but moved there when I was about a year old. My parents still live in the house I grew up in. Went to high school at Columbia Central, went on to University of Memphis, and then
why University of Memphis? What made you go to Memphis?
Yeah, it was funny. I actually had more football scholarships than I did baseball.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're a big football player? What position?
I tried quarterback.
Quarterback, QB?
Yeah.
Were you QB1?
QB1.
Really?
QB1, yep.
Oh, all right. That makes sense because you got some wheels.
Yeah, used to. That was we ran the wishbone, so
okay.
It's like more Air Force, Carson Newman, recruiting stuff like that. But,
right.
Yeah, but it was super fun. Kind of my first love. Grew up a volunteer fan, but Memphis was the one that offered me a scholarship, so that was where I went.
So going on, let me take you back to high school real quick. So you obviously played football. You played baseball too. Any other sports did you play?
Yeah, I grew up playing everything: soccer, basketball. I dropped soccer and basketball when I think I was a freshman.
Okay.
And just continued football and baseball.
Now, what was baseball your first love? Was football your first? I mean, what made you go the baseball route?
Baseball was kind of always that love, but when I started playing football, that was like, man. So I fell in love with it. It was just everything was so passionate and
the adrenaline.
You work so hard. The adrenaline, yeah, it's just the highs and the lows of the wins and the losses was just like astronomical. I'm like, why am I crying if we lose? This is weird. It never happened in baseball.
Right. Well, I think it's important. Just mark me if I'm wrong, but in football, all 11 people on the field have to do something correct for it to be a successful play.
Absolutely.
In baseball, one person messes up, it's still okay. You can still get through it, right? You got 8 other people. One guy steps up, hits a home run, game's over.
That's right, exactly.
Type of thing.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But so really, how'd you do in high school with baseball? Were you a celebrity back home with baseball or what?
It helped once I got to the big leagues, but I was just a normal, pretty good player that just kind of kept getting better. Every year, I just kept getting a little bit better. My senior year, had a lot of speed my whole life, but started developing some power and had a strong arm. So it was just one of those things. Like baseball is kind of steered me in the direction that I eventually ended up taking.
Gotcha. Now, obviously, you're at Memphis now. You're in college. You're playing baseball in college. Did you think professional baseball is what I want to do?
Absolutely.
Okay, so at that point, you're
Absolutely.
committed. You're like, boom, this is what I want to do for a living, and you
Yep.
felt like you could.
Yeah.
What,
yeah.
what was the first time you really felt like, okay, this is something I can do for a living? Like, I'm good enough.
It was funny. Like a lot of people would ask me, like football is kind of my favorite sport, but growing up, a lot of people would ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I was like, play baseball on TV.
There you go.
They're like, well, it's really, it's
Small-
rare.
Small portion.
I was like, I don't care. Nobody's paying attention to me, whatever. But that was always just my dream. And, even though Memphis was the only scholarship that I was offered, besides some junior colleges, that I still knew I was going to play.
Yeah.
Believed it. And my first 2 years, very mediocre. But sure enough, something happened my junior year. But was an All-American, got myself drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you, obviously second baseman in college,
Shortstop.
shortstop in college. So
Yeah.
you moved from shortstop to second base once you
Played
hit
a
the
little
pros.
bit of third and second in college as
Okay,
well. But
gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. So you said your junior year. So did you end up going to the draft in your junior year?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right from then they picked you up, and if I'm not mistaken, you went to Florida, correct? Florida Marlins.
So I was drafted by the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Drafted by the Diamondbacks, and then spent 4 years, had some up and down years, all-star years, some pretty bad years. My dad was like, he told me one time after I hit like 210 or something, he was like extremely shocked that I was invited back to spring training.
Right.
And of course, I went back and had
Why do you think you were invited back? What do you think?
I don't know. I just felt like
I mean, you were fast, man. You were stealing bases. Like, you were pretty quick, right?
Yeah,
you think
yeah,
that may have had something to do with it? Like there was some.
I think
Did you have power then or no?
I had some power. I think my rookie year in rookie ball, I think I hit 300, hit like, I don't know, 8 or 10 homers. I had like 15, 20 stolen bases, and, made the All-Star team. And then the next year, so I guess it was when I had like a bad year.
Uh huh.
So I guess that first year kind of bought me a little leeway. For whatever reason, I wasn't ever worried though.
Really?
I was like, yeah, so maybe I should have been.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe you had the confidence. Maybe people like that,
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids today, they don't have that. They're not sure, they don't have that swag, right? They're not confident enough to say, hey, I can do this.
No, exactly.
And in baseball, you have to become, because it's a head game. That is definitely one. I played baseball in high school and stuff, but you get against a good pitcher, or you get in your head, man. You strike out a few times against somebody, and every time you walk up against them, you're constantly thinking about those last couple outings. It ever happened to you at all?
Kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
Even later in my career when I struggled, I still thought I had it in me to be an all-star still. It's just one of those mindset things. And it's not being okay with failing. It's just like channeling that, like not getting a hit for a day or two into motivation. It's just, you have to have that mindset to not dwell on it. You have to learn from it and, keep that positive attitude.
So now you're Arizona then. So you're drafted by them originally. Now, how did you get, your rookie year? Obviously, you made the All-Star game, so you made some noise.
Yep.
But how did you get to Florida? When did that transition happen, and what made you move to Florida?
Yeah, so I was in the minor leagues for about 4.5 years with the Diamondbacks, and I had a really good like Double-A season. I mean, I think I hit 340 most of the year. I hit 20-something homers, 20-something stolen bases. Just one of those like epic years. Led the league in RBIs and most of the offensive categories, and then went to the Arizona Fall League, which is where they send all most of the prospects to. And I went off in the Fall League. Hit 3 homers the first 3 games of that season. Ended up with like, I don't know, 7 or 8 homers, which in like a month is pretty good.
Yeah.
And, hit high 300s.
Especially a second baseman. Not too many second basemen are banging them out of the field.
Right. So, yeah. And then the manager, who was Clint Hurdle for the Rockies, came up to me like, I didn't, never in big league camp. I was in like minor league spring training. And so I didn't know a lot of the managers and all this kind of stuff. But so Clint comes up, I recognize him. He's like, he comes right up to me, Danny, gives me a big old hug. So I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Some people are starting to notice something.
All right.
And so he
That was your first time where you really said, okay, I might have made something here.
Yeah.
People are recognizing me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I got a big league manager from another organization that's coming up, give me some props. And I was like, all right, this is starting to come together a little bit. So I had that fall league, and then the Rule 5 draft was in December. It's a rare thing to go through the draft. I wasn't protected on the 40-man roster.
Explain that. What is Rule 5 draft? Explain what that means to the viewers.
Every year you're protected. The minor league players are protected on single A, double A, triple A, or the 40-man roster. If you're protected on the 40-man roster, that means no other team, you're protected. No other team can pick you up.
Right.
Triple A, which is what the Diamondbacks protected me on, was another team can draft you, but in order for you to stay in that organization, you have to make the big league team in spring training that following spring training.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I didn't either at the time.
Right.
My agent's like explaining it to me after it happened.
Right.
And so double A, there's more options in double A, triple A. You can stay with the same team, but not make the big league team. So,
Gotcha.
So I was extremely excited. Went from very disappointed for being left off the 40-man with the Diamondbacks to being like, holy crap, I got a chance to be starting next year.
Right.
And that's kind of what the way it happened, like the same thing in college, just, I guess this opportunity opened up for me to just go off. And then the same thing in my junior year in college, and then same thing in the big leagues that after getting Rule 5, because the Marlins had just gotten rid of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just
Started
over.
Fresh.
And so we've got a bunch of new guys coming in, and it's basically like my job to win.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, let's strap it on. Let's go. This is what I'm, built for.
Uh-huh.
Went off in spring training, made the team, opening day, starting second baseman.
So what was that like? The first time you see opening day, you're in the Major League Baseball, TV, cameras, you're there. And you see your names, boom, you're on the roster.
Yeah.
What was that like, bro?
Oh, it was absolutely insane. Walking into the big league clubhouses for the first time. I had a lot of motivation, to step up too. I mean, I was pregnant with my first son.
You weren't pregnant. Your girl was pregnant at the time.
My wife was pregnant with my first son, and so we had him on a Friday. Opening day was on a Monday, so I had my first son 3 days before my big league debut.
Wow!
In Houston, it was pretty off the charts.
Two great moments in the same week.
4 day span right there.
What was it like your first time hitting the field? Like, let's talk about it, defense and offense. Let's go defense first. When you ran out on the field for the first time, you're looking up in the stadium and you're seeing all the crowd and all these people. Like, are you looking for your girl? Are you getting family there? Is your dad? I mean, what are you doing for? What's the first thing in your mind?
Yeah. So my son being just born, he was back in Florida, but my whole family's there. Brother, my dad. You leave them tickets. My mom, my sister. I mean, everybody came in, and so you leave them tickets. You know where they're at. You see them before the game. They're there for batting practice. I mean, it's just a whole surreal experience because it's like what you've kind of dreamed of your whole life, for me anyways. And the stadiums are just absolutely gigantic when you first walk out onto the field. And it was amazing. My first at bat was against Roy Oswald. Didn't get a hit off him, but I think Andy Pettit was who I got my first hit off the next game.
Andy, was he with the Yankees then or no?
No, he was with Houston.
Houston, so, okay, good. Yeah. We don't care. I'm glad.
But it was cool. It was like everything's just so bright, right?
Yeah.
And one of the guys on Houston he was like, pretty cool, huh? He's like, remember, it's the same game. It's the same game.
Right.
Just a lot more people.
A lot more people watching.
Yeah.
That's true. Now, you're finally getting paid. Right. What was that like when you made your first deal, your first contract? Now, is that something that you had a say in, or was your agent doing the whole thing? A lot of people wonder that. They wonder, what it's like. Do you have any control? I mean, obviously you can say yes and no, but when you sign an agreement with an agent, don't they kind of take over a lot of this stuff?
They do. As far as negotiating everything, there's not a whole lot of negotiating rights you have as a rookie in your first 3 years. I had to borrow, I think, $500 from my parents to get down to Florida for that spring training. I was broke, like every other minor league player,
Right.
And so to get that first check, I think it was like $16,000 for my first 2 weeks. I was like, oh my gosh, that's more than I made in the last 3 years.
Right.
So fast forward 3 years of, going on the rookie salary, which was, I don't know, 330,000, which is a lot of money, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Especially to play a game.
Yeah, exactly.
To have fun.
So it was absolutely amazing. And then I had 3 pretty good years to start my career, and now I'm in arbitration, and that's when your agent comes in for guys like me.
Right.
For other guys who have like first, second rounders, third rounders out of the draft, those guys negotiate big time contracts or big time signing bonuses before, but later rounds like me, you kind of sign with
Take what you
whatever.
get.
Yeah. And so after 3 years, you get 3 years arbitration, so 6 years total before you become a free agent. So the arbitration was super important for me. I had some like kind of record-setting moments those first 3 years, so it was I had a chance to go make a pretty big jump.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it, because that was a pivoting moment in your life.
Oh yeah.
Both financially and kind of putting you on a new pedestal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those 3 years, because if I'm not mistaken, you hit over 30 home runs as a second baseman, which really is unheard of. When you look at it, I think you're in the record book, so you're like number 13th or 19th or something overall.
Yeah.
And as a second baseman, you got to be in the top. Nobody's ever done it 5 years in a row. How are you? I mean, you don't look like a big guy, Dan. Like, how big are you?
I'm not very
How big were you then?
I'm more like probably square than I am like tall. It's
30 home runs, hitting them out of the park. I mean, that's a big park.
I'm 5'10", 205 right now. I played at like 215.
Did you? So you play a little bit
bulkier.
Yeah.
But I can still move. I can still run. So
was steroids a part back then?
No, thank God.
No, didn't do any of that.
No, heck no.
So how'd you get that ball out of the park, baby? How did you crank it out there?
Man, little man syndrome my whole life. Napoleon, just thinking like all my friends were bigger than me growing up, but I always wanted to be as strong as I could be to keep up with them. And so I started working out at a young age, just got as strong as I could. I wanted to be the strongest dude in the room. I wanted to be the fastest guy in the room.
Yeah.
The toughest mentally in the room. That's just kind of I didn't always work out that way. You play with guys like Stanton and Miguel Cabrera. Those guys are just physically gifted, so.
Yeah, but it's good that you have the mentality, because it is a mentality.
Right.
Because if you believe that and you have that is going to push you on a daily basis to become better. And I think a lot of people get comfortable because they don't push themselves.
Right.
Because they think this is as far as I can go.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you look around the corner, you look at some of those guys that you just mentioned that are, gifted, but you sit there and say, well, I can still keep up. I just got to work harder.
Right.
Type of thing. And you learn from them. What do you think is the most important part of, being at bat? Like, to hit one out of the park? Like, is it eye-hand coordination? Is it bat speed? Is it strength? Like, what do you think is the main characteristic to be able to jack one out of the park?
I think it's all 3 of those things that you just said. They're all equally important. You got to be strong. You got to have good hand-eye coordination, and you got to have bat speed. When you're strong, you normally tend to have a little bit more bat speed than somebody that's not as strong, but that gives you the opportunity to not hit a ball as cleanly. You don't have to hit it perfect for it to go out of the ballpark, if you're stronger than, most everybody else.
Right. Hey, folks, this is WamBam at WamBam's podcast. I want to take a moment to thank our major sponsor, Cost Plus Processing, the leader in merchant processing. If you're a business owner and you're accepting credit cards or need to accept credit cards, reach out to Cost Plus Processing at 1-855-391-9190. That's 1-855-391-9190. And find out why they are the future in merchant processing. Now back to the show. So in Florida, you obviously made a big jump. Money starts coming now. Bags are starting to be offered. You're able to, make a lot more than you ever thought you would, right?
Yep.
And you have opportunities now. You got people knocking, at the door trying to, bring you on.
Yep.
What was that like? I mean, I know Florida offered you a huge contract. I think like $12 million a year and stuff. And you actually you denied it. You guys didn't take it. Yeah. And then Atlanta comes around and they offer you a 5-year deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Over $60 million.
Yeah.
What was that day like, man?
Oh, it was bittersweet. It was bittersweet. You know, I had such good relationships.
Were you doing this here all the way to Atlanta? Yo!
Yeah. I was in Cabo when I got the news I was traded. But yeah, so the president, David Sampson, I'm actually meeting up with him here in about a week. He's just a dear friend. Him and his father-in-law, Jeffrey Loria, I became super tight with him. Larry Beinfest, who was our general manager. They made a final offer at 4 years for 40-something million. And David said, listen, if you don't take this, we're going to have to trade you, which I always loved and respected about him. That's why him and I are so close to this day. He's just always been honest with me.
So it wasn't like, hey, you got a phone call, hey, you're going here. You had an idea this is probably going to happen or not happen because of what you wanted and what you didn't.
Right,
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And basically, I mean, because I broke in when I was 26, which was late. Really had only one shot at a big deal, you know. So I got to try to get as many years as I could.
Sure.
And so I was trying to be realistic, but they didn't want to go that 5th year. But some of my buddies had just signed 5 and 6 year deals at 30 and 31 years old. So I'm like, I had 1 year till free agency, and then sure enough, I was traded about 2 weeks later to the Braves, and it was unreal. I mean, the timing couldn't have been better for me and my family. My 2 kids that I had with my first wife, Tara, they were living in Lexington at the time. I was living in Nashville. We were making the commute, and she got remarried to their stepdad now. And right around the time I got traded, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was like, talk to my agent. I was like, see what we can do. It's got to be 5 years though. And the next thing you know, they're moving to Atlanta. I'm getting a 5 year deal. So I was like, this could not be more perfect.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now you're a Brave.
Now I'm Brave.
Now, is that, growing up, you obviously watch baseball, you have heroes, you got teams. What was your favorite team? Like, who did you like? Who did you idolize as a kid?
Being so close to Atlanta, it was the Braves, and I love the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
For some reason, I guess because of the Bash Brothers back.
I was gonna say back then, McGuire and all the boys.
Yeah.
And Giambi, I called him Gumby when he was when he was a Yankee.
Yeah.
So.
Darryl Strawberry was my favorite player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved watching the Oakland A's.
Yeah. Did you ever think that you'd be able to be on the same stage as them, watching them as a kid?
Man, it was a long time away, but it was just one of those surreal moments. There's surreal things to think about when you're watching, because that was a long time ago, watching Darryl and Jose and Mark McGuire hit all those home runs.
Right. So you're over here as a Brave. Now you got big, high expectations. You've hit 30 home runs for several years in a row now, 3 or 4 years, you're coming into a big contract. Do you feel the pressure? Because now you got to produce these numbers. Did that ever bother you, or did you ever sense that at all? And
I never felt the pressure, but I'll tell you that first 2 months I was a Brave was a tough 2 months.
Yeah.
It was like one of those first starts to a season I had in the minor leagues when it was like just, oh man, it wasn't there. But the confidence was never not there. I never really felt any pressure. I was, I felt a little guilty. I was like, the fans need more than this. My teammates need more than what I'm giving.
Gotcha. So you're putting pressure on yourself.
A little bit.
Yeah. Sounds it.
Yeah. That second month when it still wasn't rolling, it was like, all right, you gotta figure out something. I was like, we got to get this thing going.
Yeah. What, not only that, what would you remember your first at bat becoming a Brave? What was it? What would you do for your first at bat? And do you remember what happened?
That's a good question. I don't.
No,
I don't. I need to look that up.
Wasn't a home run then, huh? Don't think it was a dinger?
I don't think it was a home run. No.
Well, the one thing I will say as a Brave that you did come around the corner because you end up having the longest hitting streak ever for a Brave, let alone a second baseman. But if I'm not mistaken, it was 33 games in a row.
33 games in a row. Probably one of the strangest hitting streaks from
broken bat single, type things.
No. I mean, I actually was on fire hitting homers and hitting, just missiles everywhere. But I think I was hitting probably, 140 at the time when it started. Most hitting streaks come from people like Pete Rose and Jimmy Rollins and all these 300 hitters,
right?
So.
Well, and it's funny because I'm looking at the list here. You were tied 19th overall, but you're ahead of guys like Albert Pujols, you know what I'm saying? George Brett,
Right.
George Brett, Sandy Alomar. Like, you're
Yeah.
ahead of them, Danny.
Yeah, and
Nobody can take that away from you,
that's
man.
what doesn't make any sense about it, the whole thing, I had a couple of pinch hits in the 9th inning and pinch hit homers, and I'm just like, this makes no sense to me.
Now, you know what? When you finish your career, I know Freddie Freeman came in as a Braves. I think he got the closest 2 year. I think he got 30.
Yep.
Well, were you watching that at the time? Were you eyeing it? Were you wondering if he was going to break it?
Oh, yeah.
Were you a little concerned about that?
Absolutely. No, I was hoping he would break it.
You were hoping it was. So
he's
you're pulling for him?
broken everything else, I was trying to get that too,
A true Brave.
Yeah, no, he's my favorite player, man. It's funny, when I was going through my thing with my hit streak, he was, when I was like at like 20, late 20s, he had a 20-game hit streak going at the same time, and which I thought was pretty cool. We just kind of clicked like that together.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. It's great to hear the support too, because a lot of people be like, "Man, I don't really want him to break the one record I have," that type of thing.
No, break that thing. I'm not supposed to have it anyways.
See, you're so humble about that, man. That's what I love about you, and so forth. So, you know what? Being a guy coming to Atlanta, obviously you came from Miami. Think about Miami's nightlife and stuff, but Miami, you said you went there broke. You made some money. You're playing ball. Now all of a sudden, you're here in Atlanta. You become a little bit more of a high-profile type person. Mm-hmm. What is that like? How did that affect your life, and what did that do for you? Like, did it change you at all as a person?
No, I loved it, man. I loved it because I'm a people guy. I like when people come up and interact, and I still, when I go back to Miami to this day, people, we miss you in Miami. I was like, man, I love you guys down here. It's awesome. And Atlanta's the same thing. I just being in the public eye, I loved it. I mean, whether it was dinner or going to a kid's ballpark or wherever it was, I mean, signing autographs, taking pictures, I think is like one of those things you just, have to appreciate and love.
It's good to hear that, because so many people, you hear about some of the horror stories, some of the athletes that don't sign the autographs, or they turn away some people and stuff, especially kids. You hate to see that, you hate to hear that, but there's got to be a breaking point.
Yeah.
You do have a life too. You do have a family and kids to get home to as well. You can't sit there and sign autographs all night.
Right. So there's a fine line for sure, and there are moments, I've definitely had mine, to where it's like, I can't do this tonight. You try to make sure that there's no kids that you leave out, but there's always going to be some. But there's always going to be those moments, especially in visiting stadiums or visiting cities, when the fans aren't necessarily rooting for you. So, right. But when it comes down to it, when you're in like your everyday life and somebody comes up to you for a picture, especially kids, it's just like, I think it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, you're a hero, man. You're a superhero to me, because 30 dingers, man. I mean, just thinking about this: 32 home runs, 31 home runs, 33 home runs, 36 home runs in 2011. Like, those are big numbers, dude. Like, you almost hit 40 home runs.
I know, so close. I wanted it so bad.
You just needed a few more swings.
I know.
But let's talk about the downturn, because afterwards you started dipping a little bit. You did 19 home runs, 22 home runs, and 2-2. Right. Like, what happened? What was the change? Was it to the point where, okay, my career's starting to come to an? I mean, what was the changing point?
It was one of those things. I hate to make excuses for anything, but I got hit in the head 2013. I'm pretty sure it was 2013 or 12. I can't remember. Like 2 or 3 times between the 2 years.
Yeah, with a ball?
And so, yeah.
Really?
So, fastball, yeah.
No kidding.
One time down in Miami, and then...
So what is that like? Let's talk about that real quick. 'Cause you got a helmet on. Yeah. And people see, they see he gets hit with a helmet, don't think it hurts. Does it hurt?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
it hurts. Feel it.
Yeah, because mine caught me like kind of right here, kind of in the crease area. Uh-huh. And... thank God it hit my helmet. I watched Jason Hayward get hit right in the face. It's just horrible. Yeah. I don't know how he didn't get knocked out. He's a tough kid right there.
Did you feel it was intentional?
No, I don't think so.
Did anybody ever throw at you intentionally? I mean, thinking about it, you're hitting 30 dingers.
It's hard to say. And I'm a little guy, so I had to get on the plate. And so people would throw up and in on me a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times they'd go over my head, right? But who knows if anything is ever intentional or not. Maybe there was a few, maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
So this guy was a buddy of mine. I'd had some success off of him. I think he was just trying to go up and in. Of course, he was like, dude, I'm so sorry. You know, it was obviously not intentional. And it just got
cool.
it. Yeah, just got away from him. That one was like, 92, 93, right in the temple, right in the dome. And then another one in spring training was like, by a rookie. I'm sure he's through like upper 90s. He's probably trying to make a team and trying to throw as hard as he can. And one got away from him, hit me in the back of the neck back here. And so after that, I just never saw the ball the same. It was weird. I didn't think anything about a concussion because I didn't know anything about concussions.
Right. That wasn't, protocols weren't out back then.
Yeah. So, and I'm just trying to stay in the lineup. Can you play? Like, heck yeah, I can play.
Right.
And I thought I could.
Right.
And just never saw the ball quite the same. That, and then getting older, who knows what happens. And
dealing with pitchers though, obviously each week, and you played a lot of games. So, what is that like traveling? Like you're playing a home game today, and then tomorrow you're in New York or somewhere else. Like what is that like, and how tough is that on the body and everything else? Like describe that, because I know a lot of viewers would like to know. I want to know.
Yeah, minor league is a lot harder because you're on the buses. If you make it AA, AAA, you got these super early morning flights, playing the same day you're flying. The big leagues is pretty easy.
Is it?
Yeah, I always enjoyed it. Everything, bus right to the plane, jump on the plane, never have to worry about your bags. They're in the room waiting for you. Every once in a while you get into a city at 3, 4 in the morning, but that's fine. A lot of times you have days off the next day if you do that.
Curfews or anything? What's that like?
Nah, no curfews.
No, so you can do what you want.
Kind of police yourself, man.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do to be ready to play.
That's interesting to me. So there's no, they don't put any rules down with fines. I know I had Curtis from Seattle Seahawks was here not too long ago, and he was saying how that they would actually fine you if you didn't get in at a certain time, and they found you out at a certain place.
Yeah.
Of course, he was playing in Las Vegas at the time with the Raiders. Right. So Sin City could do that to you. But
football's a lot different.
Yeah.
They I don't know what kind of curfews they have like during the week when they're practicing for pretty lenient, but like you playing one game a week. It's those games are so important.
Right. That's true. That's a good point.
Baseball, and there's in every sport, there's so much money to be had. Do you want to make the money?
Right.
Do you want to get released? Can you want to like let something outside of baseball or control you more than what you can control?
Mm-hmm.
And I never wanted that, so I wanted to stay in the game as long as I could.
What are the off days like? Being in Major League Baseball, I know football's all about stuff, but in baseball, what are off days like for you? Like, is there still training about? Like, are you training? Are you trying to get better? Are you watching film? Are you watching video and the pitchers that you're about to face? Like, what's it like, man?
Off days, we stay away from the field unless we're getting closer to the playoffs. You'll have some workouts and stuff getting close to the playoffs if you have an off day. But most part, if you're in a different city, your family's in town, or if they're not, you just kind of go explore the city, hang out, get a good dinner.
Yeah.
Just kind of like when I was in Florida, I'd go to the beach.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, but Miami's not bad.
No, it's not.
It's always happy there in Florida, man. Everybody's
right?
got, when there's sunshine, there's smiles.
Yeah. And, here you just hang out at the house or meet up with some friends for dinner, hang out with the kids, whatever you have going on.
So how do you get yourself better then? If you're in a rut, you're struggling a little bit. Like if you don't take, what do you do? Like, do people work out after? Like that's what I'm saying. Do you go to special training? Do they force you to you got to take extra batting practice because you're off right now?
There's a lot of it is kind of.
Are the coaches really coaching? Like
coaches are there for you.
Yeah.
But once you get to the big leagues, it's kind of like what are you going to get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody there works hard. If you're struggling, there's early hitting available every single day. There's early whatever you need every single day. You just try and, you can watch your film, whatever is your routine to get yourself going again. That's usually what you got to go to. You just got to, most importantly is just stay positive and keep that confidence.
That's right, baby. Stay positive. That's our
right?
motto here.
Yeah, that's right.
Stay positive. Keep testing negative.
Because if you're going to be negative, it's going to rub off your teammates. Your teammates going to stop hanging around you so much. Nobody wants to be around that negative dude.
Yeah.
and you got to keep the confidence, help the team. Normally, when you help the team in those situations, whatever that is, during the game, before the game, usually that gets you going again. That's kind of the way that I went about it.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of therapy after games and stuff, like as far as your body goes and stuff? I know ice baths are real big nowadays. And different things. Did you do anything back then?
You know, I saw your cold plunge. I've got one at the house too. I do it religiously every day. But
yeah, that's right.
I hated that stuff when I was playing.
I still hate it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
It's a miserable 3 minutes.
I hate it every day too.
But it works.
But I never did that. I was always generally pretty healthy. I was super lucky in staying healthy and creating opportunities for myself with that. But
yeah, I mean, actually, you know, were you ever injured? Did you ever miss any games because of that? I mean,
you know, it's funny. The only time I was on the DL was when because I had astigmatism around the same time as the I was having. We couldn't figure out what's going on with my freaking eyesight, so I had LASIK surgery to fix my. I was like, let's go ahead and fix that. And but I'm kind of pissed. I went on the DL. I could have played after like 3 days. So
really?
Yeah, but no, for my
they still
eyes.
Paid you, right?
What's
still
that?
get paid when you're on a DL, right?
Yeah. You still get paid.
So you know, it's like you're on vacation.
It's 2 weeks off, man. You're away from your homies though.
I love it.
I'm gonna be there with them.
That's right. You know, film. Do you watch a lot of film of, you know, pictures and stuff like that? Or do you have statistics? I always wondered, you know, people watch Moneyball, they watch, you know, these shows with statistics and stuff. Is that shit real? Like,
it just depends on the player. It's a lot more than it is. The video and the film is a lot more now. It was like I kept everything up here because I didn't want to get too analytical.
Do they give you stats like the coach is like, hey, Danny, you know, you're going against Andy Pettit this week. This is how he pitched you the last 3 games and how he pitches little guys about your thing. He's throwing a cutter on the 3rd pitch, and you know, so you have all that. So that's in your head. Okay.
Yeah. There's hitters meetings. There's defensive meetings.
Have they ever been wrong? Like, or are they pretty solid?
Yeah, they're statistics, and you take from them what you get. I mean, all you have is like the information that's in front of you. That we try to keep what's somebody doing, not the whole year, but what they've done the last 10 games. You know, 8 games, whatever. Is he hot? Is he not?
Right.
So that's kind of what we did, and you just you play the odds. Right. You know, but for me, does he throw a changeup 30% of the time? Because a lot of pitchers pitch me different than they pitch a lot of other people.
Sure.
Right? I couldn't hit
Especially
a
when you're hitting
changeup.
30 home runs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
right. Yeah.
But I also couldn't hit a changeup, so I'm going to see more changeups in certain counts. So I had to be,
prepared for that.
Ready for that. So but I like to keep it up here. Remember how pitchers pitch me and try to make the adjustment.
Who was a favorite pitcher you enjoyed coming up against? Like, you're like, I can't fucking wait to hit against him because I'm going to bang him every time.
Who was one of them? I think Derek Lowe. He was, he was such a good competitor too, but for whatever reason, I just saw him a little bit better. Yeah. And even if I didn't see him very good, I would swing and I'd find a hole somewhere, you know. I was like, oh, thank you, you know. Right. But he was he's one of those dudes that he never not went out there and tried to dominate. He was always ready to pitch.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, who did you not want to face that you struggled against?
Gosh, geez, Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels and Johan Santana.
Yeah.
I did every time. And Chris, I think throw Chris Capuano in there too.
Yeah.
Change-up guys, man. Hard throwing lefties with good change-ups. I had no chance.
No chance. That's when
No
you kind of want
chance.
to go, Coach, go ahead and put a pinch hitter in for me.
yeah. Those are the ones you're just kind of hoping to put the ball in play.
Right.
You know, instead of going 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Horrible.
That's crazy. Hey, folks, this is WamBam at WamBam's podcast. I just wanted to let you know that we've launched our website and merchandise is now available to you. That's right. We have hats. We have T-shirts. We have hoodies. The hoodies have been going off the shelf already. The Stay Positive hoodies. That's right. Stay positive, folks, and keep tested negative. As you know, go to our website at www.wambamspodcast.com. That's www.wambamspodcast.com. Now back to our show. So you know what? Obviously, you wind down your career a little bit. You had a lot of success. You made some, good bread and everything. What's life like now? well, baseball's over with. You decide, okay, it's time to walk away. First of all, what was that moment like? And when did you make that decision that, hey, I mean, 'cause you made a decision. Baseball didn't make the decision.
Right.
You chose, hey, I'm done.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to pick me up.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, what was that like, and what was your deciding, factor for it all?
Yeah, I think so. After I got released from the Braves, I had that quick stint in San Francisco. And then the following year,
I love the quick stint, but you did get a World Series ring.
I got,
you got a World Series ring, so that's okay.
Somehow,
Good
some way,
timing,
right?
Good time. Hey, you said it's all been about timing sometimes.
It has.
You've gotten, maybe you got that, horseshoe up your butt, they say.
I definitely did. I'll be the first to admit that. But it was like, I'm coming into DC on a minor league deal, minor league contract, right? Atlanta's still paying. I'm still on that 5-year deal. So Mike Rizzo is the guy that drafted me with Arizona. He was the head scout over there. Just turns out he became the GM for the Nationals a few years before that. And he was like, "Hey man, come give it a shot." I was like, "Oh, dude, absolutely." I was like, if you tell me I've got a chance to make a team and a chance to start and play, I'm in. And had a bunch of buddies over there too. Had a great spring training. It was still like finishing up some of that concussion stuff. That treatment. I went to Vegas to see a doctor out there that worked with a bunch of, boxers, MMA guys, and Cirque du Soleil guys. So that vestibular stuff, a bunch about.
Oh yeah.
So I got as right as I could, and then I'm like, first time that spring training, I never forget. I was facing Alex Wood. I could see the ball. So I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Base hit back up the middle. I'm like, all right,
I'm back.
I got a chance. We got a chance of, I had a feeling that this could go one of two. Well, it was going to go one of two ways: make a team, and then go off and maybe sign another 2-year deal or something like that, or just make a team, do well enough to hang around, right? And ended up making the team. And I think I was up the whole year, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. I was opening day starter. I did okay. Didn't get a lot of playing time. Didn't have a great year, but I was up the whole year, just helping whatever way I could. Just really enjoyed the guys. And then next year, after that season, there was a bunch of offers to go to AAA. AAA will call you up in a month, something like that. And I'm just like, I don't know. And, it's hard to swallow.
Hard to go backwards.
Yeah, that ego wasn't letting me swallow. 'Cause what happens if I stink in AAA? I can get released. Right. It's like, ooh. But anyways, after those 2 years, 14 and 15, and a little bit of 13. It was just one of those things. Like, you know what? I've got 4 kids, and maybe it's time. If I don't have a chance to make a big league club out of spring training, I just don't know if it's worth it.
I always often wonder, how many guys do hang around regardless. Like some players, they say they're there for the paycheck at the end. They don't really care if they're playing or not. But I guess when you started, you've been an all-star, you've had some good success. Yeah. It's kind of hard to go backwards and sit back.
It is.
Even if they are your boys, you know what I'm saying? You still want to be on the field.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Back to that little man syndrome. It's hard to be the big man on campus in AAA, you know? So, but it was one of those things I was kind of ready for. I didn't know it at the time, but once there wasn't an opportunity to go to the big leagues next year right out of the gate, I'm like, you know what, this might be time. This might make the most sense. Come home, start. I didn't want to go, and also I didn't want to be away from my kids and also be in AAA. Right.
Sure.
And just kind of floating around, not knowing what's going to happen.
Now you got 2 boys, 2 girls.
2 boys, 2 girls.
Play baseball, any of them? Softball?
Oh man, they're all superstar athletes.
Are they?
Got the oldest one's going to Lenore Ryan to play baseball.
Nice. What position?
Got almost a full scholarship. He's a middle infielder.
Okay.
Shortstop right now.
Yeah.
He won a state championship at his high school last year, North Cobb Christian. I think they're number 1 in the state right now. Yeah. They're killing it.
Great team.
My 15-year-old, she's been on the USA cheer team for the last 2 years. She's an animal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the toughest people I know. and then Winter, my 9-year-old, she's just so talented. She's a cheerleader as well. She's in her second year of competitive cheer. She's like exploding with talent. And then my little guy, Woods, he is 7. He does everything.
Yeah.
He's out these
Fun age.
fun age.
Yeah.
One of the sweetest
Can't
swings.
do nothing wrong at 7.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Dude, it was like if you're an athlete, I don't know. I just craving for my kids to be athletes.
Of course.
And thank God all of them were. And my youngest one, whether it's a golf club or, whatever kind of bat, he's been hitting balls and crap since he could walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Being a competitor, obviously you're a big time athlete. You played in the big leagues. You played on TV, and now all of a sudden you can't compete anymore. Do you? What do you do? Like, do you join a softball team? Like, or are you banned? Can you even play softball because you're a major league player?
Well, I could definitely play. I choose not to, man.
Yeah?
But I think the only thing that would happen is me embarrassing myself out there. But
are you afraid of that? Whiffing at the softball bat?
1,000%. 1,000%. No doubt in my mind I would embarrass myself.
Make an error at second base.
Absolutely.
Ball's too big.
Yeah. Right? I don't know how they play and make all these plays because they're good. Now, I've always been competitive, but I haven't been like super competitive in that kind of aspect. I don't need like all kinds of action around me, I guess. I play some golf. I do a lot of traveling.
Wait a second. You play some golf. That's not what I heard. I heard you're pretty damn good at golf.
I wish that was
I heard
true.
you're pretty damn good at golf. You play a lot of golf. Is that not true?
Play a lot of golf. Not very good at golf, though. It's a hard sport.
Well, I heard you're either really good or you're really bad. Kind of like on your baseball.
Yeah.
Hand-eye coordination. You're either on or you're off, right?
That's it, yeah. That's kind of the story of my life. But yeah, it's like one of those things. My most favorite thing to do is hang out with my friends like you, reminiscing, barbecuing on. I could do that every day of the week. Hanging out with the kids, having the kids run around. That's my absolute favorite thing to do. Go on a cool trip somewhere.
Yeah.
With some good friends, make some memories. That's all I need in life, man.
There you go. That's awesome. All right, so here's a section where I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want to get your honest opinion on things, okay? Because I know people have questions about certain things, and we're going to relate it to baseball.
Perfect.
All right, here's the first one. Michael Jordan playing baseball. What were your thoughts when he went out there? Come on, tell the truth.
I thought it was cool. I was so young. I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but I'm like, oh, he's going to play baseball. All right.
Did you think it was real? Like, you feel like he was, or they kind of let him? Do you think they let him because he's Michael Jordan, or do you think he was
1,000%.
qualified and good enough to be where he was?
No, starting out, they let him because he was Michael Jordan. My opinion. And then he's Michael Jordan, so he made himself worthy of being there.
Yeah.
But you can't stick Michael Jordan in rookie ball,
right,
or independent league.
Well, you got to earn it. Why not? You had to go through the,
different strokes for different folks, man.
Oh, okay. So there is different strokes for different folks.
I think so.
I think so too.
I think
so too. All right. Here's another question that comes up. Why do the third base coach and the first base coach and all the coaches wear actual uniforms? Are they going to play?
That's a great question.
Are they going to play, man? I just want to know. They get tapped in.
Maybe throw some tracksuits on them or something.
I've just always wondered that. Like, why are they dressed up in uniforms?
That's a great question. I never actually asked the answer, but that's just the way it's been. And maybe since they're on the field, I don't know what else they would look right in. I don't know. Like coaching shorts and a collared or something. I don't know.
They look like a player. I guess it's from tradition, obviously it's tradition stuff, but it's just funny when you still look at it so many decades and how things have grown and things have changed. But that's one thing that they still wear a uniform like they want to go out there and play. I just wondered if
that's a great question. I don't have an answer.
I mean, could you imagine Bill Parcells back in the day or Bill Belichick on the sidelines with a football helmet on and shoulder pads and everything? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just wondering, what would that be like? You know what I'm saying?
And why did the NBA coaches wear suits for so long in that hot ass arena?
Right. But they're not wearing gear. They're not wearing the
They changed it up.
Yeah, they changed it up. So
I do like that they don't make. I think the coaches should be able to wear like pullovers and stuff, maybe some baseball pants. Yeah. Still, but
I wear my baseball shirt cool. just because baseball day.
You look good in it.
Thank you so much. So that was one thing that I always had asked. Now here's another thing too. People get a lot of hassle because they say you could actually get up to bat 1 out of 4 times and get a hit, strike out the other 3, and be a Hall of Famer. How do you feel about that?
It's baseball. I think making the Hall of Fame this day. It's actually it's one for three.
Yeah.
Every time. It's a very, I don't know, difficult thing to understand. It's part of that thing with baseball. It's like kind of a game built out of failure. And
I have the answer for that one.
yeah,
It's so freaking hard to hit that little ball coming at 100 miles an hour
right.
that therefore you get an opportunity to strike out 3 out of 4 times. It can still make the Hall of Fame if you hit a home run that 4th time.
Jeez,
That's the only thing I could attribute to. I mean, people talk about that all the time. Man, they play 200 games. You could strike out 7 out of 10 times, and you're batting 300, and you're in the Hall of Fame. So how is that cool and stuff? But the truth of the matter is, it's that fucking hard.
It's you know
what I'm saying?
hard.
And if they haven't done it, and I'm telling you, viewers, you don't believe me, stand up there and not in front of, go to a batting cage that can actually throw 100 miles an hour across you.
Yeah, especially the pitchers these days. Holy crap.
Oh, isn't that not different?
Yeah, it's way different.
Now, being a pitcher, okay, where do they get their strength from? Is it their arm? Are they working out? Are they doing bicep curls and stuff?
No.
Or is it their legs?
It's their legs.
Absolutely. Okay, legs, yeah. And that's why, you hear a lot of that. People like, oh, man, look at his arms. He should be able to, how can he throw 100 miles an hour? He looks skinny and everything. It's like, but it comes from your hamstrings, right? It comes from below.
Yeah, there have been some pretty built dudes like Kyle Farnsworth who, got some pretty big arms that can throw hard. But he also has big legs.
Yeah. Who is right now currently playing that you think is going to be a Hall of Famer one day?
Oh, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman?
Oh, yeah.
You think he's going to make it? Boom in.
He's going to get that elusive 3,000 hits, probably 600 doubles. He'll have over 400 homers, I think.
Will he beat your 33-game hitting streak, though?
Man, I hope so. He's getting better and better, man. He's getting better and better.
Who do you like this year as far as World Series? Who do you think is going to be in?
I got to go with the Bravos.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like the pitching acquisitions they made and just the moves that Alex made. I think if Acuna stays on his track, he'll probably be in that Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah.
One day.
What about the other side? Who are they going to play?
What's that?
Who are they going to play, though? Who else see in it with them? Give me your 2 picks.
I think the Rangers are going to go back to it.
Yeah, you think so?
It's
I don't know. The Yankees started out 4-0, man. They're on fire.
I knew you wanted me to say the Yankees.
I can't. My heart wants to say the Yankees, of course. But they need pitching.
That'll be fun. They need a little bit.
I love the Yankee Braves. I just do. I mean, it's just a fun game to go to.
Classic.
No matter what. It doesn't even matter. When they play here, they play there. Mm-hmm. The games are fun. The fans are fun. It's just, for whatever reason, it's just a good time.
I agree. That's kind of what I hope it's going to be. Yeah. Stanton needs to get him a World Series.
Yeah.
Judge is probably one of the best dudes in all of baseball.
Yeah. Class act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, class act. Good dude. Big dude. Big dude. What do you like when you stand next to him, huh?
Huge.
You go like
first time I saw him was in spring training with the Nationals, and he walks in, he's like 6'7" or whatever he is, 285. And I'm like, what is that, man? What are you doing? Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Are you playing today? Oh my gosh.
That's funny. But you were hitting out just as many home runs at one time.
At one point in time, it took me 2 years to get him, what was that, 58 or 60, whatever.
Yeah,
he
got
just hit.
doubled up, yeah.
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 years to catch that year, but geez. Man, that guy was strong.
What would you tell your son, okay, getting ready, obviously going through college and stuff, playing baseball, he has your last name, you got a little bit of history there and stuff. What would you tell him, one of the three things that you learned going through it, if you could go back and change, or you wish you knew as a younger person, the younger you, what would those 3 things be?
Man, he's already so much more mature than I am. And he's just one of those awesome kids that has always put his team first. And I think that's one of the most important things. Putting your team first, being a good teammate. He already knows how to conduct himself like a professional. He was, he got to spend basically 10 years and all my 10 years in the big leagues, like running around clubhouse and stuff. So he knows how to act. But he knows that Ugglas aren't the most talented, and he knows that you have to work hard. We're going to have to work hard to get to where we want to be, like most of us do. And so he's on the right track.
Yeah. I bet you got to work harder now because of the name. You know, he's got to work harder. I mean, he just has to.
I hope
Expectations
so.
are a little bit higher now.
Well, that's a good thing.
You know,
That's
that is a good thing. That is a good thing and stuff. You know what, Danny? I just I can't tell you enough. Thanks again for being here. You know, is there anybody out there though that you played against that you just didn't like? I need to know that. I'm just curious. Like somebody, you know, or they tried to pick a fight with you, or do you ever have any of those fights in the locker rooms, or anybody, even your rookie year, any time throughout baseball?
Looking back, no, you know, you have your spats in locker rooms, but it was like brotherly spats, you know.
Even when you're at your lowest, like times when you're, you know, I know you
Yeah.
had some errors, you ran through some bad times there.
Yeah.
You know, you're not hitting the ball well. Is anybody getting in your grill or you know,
No,
getting in your ass like, hey, dude, do your job?
no, because like when you're making physical mistakes like that, everybody's like trying to pick you up, you know. And as long as you're still hustling, you're trying, you're working, you know, everyone's behind you. It's when you kind of stop working and you have a bad attitude, you start blaming things, making excuses. That's when people, you know, like myself, will come out and be like, "Hey, man, pick it up. This crap right here doesn't get it done.
Right.
I don't care if I'm hitting 200. Like, I'm still gonna come get in your ass
That's it.
if you're not hustling."
Awesome.
But I never really ran into any. We had good teammates and across the league. Thank God nobody tried to pick a fight with me. I don't know what I'd do. They'd get my ass whipped on TV.
That's awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of WamBam's podcast. And as Dan said, be a great teammate, man. Pick your teammates up. If you're having, you know, struggling through some things aren't going as well as they should be going, keep working. Keep working, keep working. And never think that you can't make it. And as WamBam always says, baby, if your life was a movie, would it be worth watching? And if the answer is no, then stop being ordinary and start being extraordinary. Till next Wednesday, remember, stay positive and keep testing negative, baby. I'm your boy WamBam, and I'm out. This podcast was brought to you by Cost Plus Processing, the leader in merchant processing. Call 1-855-391-9190 and find out why they are the future.